For joining us for our Studio Online class. Our Studio U is what we've decided to call it, and we're ready to get going here. So tonight we're going to be taking a peek at some super sweet Valentine's themed projects, as well as answering your design questions live. Roxanne Buchholz, our creative team manager, a very talented lady, is with us here tonight to take you through the projects and to show you some design tips and tricks and to answer your studio questions. We also have Brooke Mayer online. She'll be available to answer the questions that you type into the question box, so feel free to do that as we go along. And I'm Cynthia Coulon, and I'll take just a few minutes to introduce you to Heritage Makers and why our products are so special. I'm the studio product manager, by the way. You know, the reason that I love Heritage Makers products so much is because they really do good things. They're fun to make, they're fun to display, they're fun to give away, and that's all true and great. There's also so much more. For example, here's a little square flip book, and what's showing here are just 9 pages from this book, and it's called Love You to the Moon and Back. I love you as deep as the ocean. I love you as big as the sky. I love you as far as the road forever, to forever, forever and ever. What could a book like this mean to a child? More than just cute, more than just fun. Here's another flip book, a great one by Carrie Peratt. These are some pages from it. It's adorable, and it's called Love You More Than Ice Cream. And it's not just a message of love. It's an affirmation for this little girl to know how much she means to her mother. It's a reminder, it's a boost, and it's worth so much more than the time and money it cost. And here's a 7x5 storybook by Michelle Bell. It features photos and messages from her to her husband. And how do you think Michelle felt when she was creating this? How do you think her husband felt when he received it from her? What kind of message does this communicate to their cute little kids? Now, I know we live in a fast-paced world. We're all quite aware of that. We're pretty busy most of the time with a lot to do. But thankfully, there are those who still take the time and make the time to do things like reminisce, to express their love and appreciation, to preserve photos, to tell stories, to write down memories, to send a simple card. And those things are not insignificant at all. So before we begin this class, I just want to express my gratitude to all of you who look for ways to brighten the lives of the people around you, the people you love, and for letting Heritage Makers products be a little part of that. So I thank you for that. And now we're going to go ahead and continue on. But before I introduce Roxanne, I'm going to give away a few points. We like to give away free publishing points to one of our attendees. And the person on my list is Sherry Grant, G-R-A-N-T. So Sherry, you'll be getting 20 points in your Heritage Makers account. And if you don't have a Heritage Makers account, go ahead and go online to heritagemakers.com and you can sign up for a free account. So congratulations, Sherry. Well, I want to thank Roxanne for being with us tonight. She's an awesome presenter, a wonderful teacher, and very skilled in studio. And she's willing to share her talents with us, and I know we all appreciate that.
I'm happy to be here tonight with everybody. I'm looking forward to hopefully inspiring you and teaching you a little bit more of how to use studio effectively, and hopefully we'll play and have some fun while we're doing it. Great. So we're going to start with some template gallery inspiration tonight, and it's, of course, Valentine's Day is rapidly approaching. It seems, you know, a month off, but it's going to be here before we know it. So now is the time to get going on your Valentine's treats and your canvases and all the things you want to do. You know, it'll take you a week or two to put together what you want, and then another, you know, week to 2 weeks in production before you have it. So now is the time to get going. I just want to show off these great new little soda pop labels from Cynthia Coulon. These are on our new large address label product. We introduced this in the fall of last year, and it has been a huge hit. We previously just had the small return address labels, which we put on the little Hershey's Nuggets candy treats, and they were cute and adorable, and we've done lots of those. But we've come up with a whole bunch of new ideas for these large address labels. These are great. They're 3 3/4 inches long by 3 inches tall, and they fit wonderfully well on so many different products. As you can see here, there's this cute Love Potion #9. It fits perfectly well on the big red soda pop. And then, of course, this is the Orange Crush. I've got a crush on you. So these are perfect. And a lot of these older glass bottle types come in those nice little 4-packs in a little cardboard box with a handle, which would be cute to give a little 4-pack away. You could probably just cover even the front label of the box with a piece of construction paper and then adhere a label to the front of that as well. And there's also these new little small but meaningful sweet treats. We've got a lot of different things going on. These are actually designed by Brooke Mayer. I know Brooke and Cynthia had all these different types of candy all over their desk, and they've been playing and having fun with all these different little ways to adhere the new large address labels. These are actually a sample of what you'll see in the template gallery of the large address label. I believe these are actually, Cynthia, do you know the size on these when you cut them out? Are they 3/4 inches?
Yes. So they're 3/4 inch, and we used a paper punch to punch them out.
Right, from the scrapbooking supply. So you could either hand cut them out if you want, or there's a little paper punch thing that punches them out in this size. So as you can see, you get 12 little circles out that have a sticky back for the labels, and you just adhere them to the bottom of your little Kisses treats. And these would look great filled up in a glass jar, a mason jar with a cute little decoration on top. And then these are so cute, Tic Tacs. I've got Tic Tacs on my desk. I've been playing with these too. But basically you take the large address label, and each address label will make 2 of these Tic Tac wrappers, basically. They're so cute, like We Are Meant to Be and My Heart Ticks for You. But I think there's a couple different versions in the template gallery now, but be creative and come up with what you want to do. Also, you can check Pinterest. There's several different ideas out there floating. You know, feel free to use someone's verbiage that you want to. But these are great, inexpensive gifts, and they're just clever. You know, your children's classmates would love to see it, or your friends would enjoy getting a little, you know, thank you or I'm thinking of you kind of thing too. There's also more uses for these labels. It just goes on and on. It's just fun with all these different types of candy. I love this little dynamite one. I think this is a Rolo's candy roll. You get the little caramel chocolates. And then there's just a little with a little piece of tape or something you could put on this little the baking string that you can use, or you can do anything you can find at the craft store for the little dynamite end. And I believe these are Kit Kats too. So there's all these cute many different styles of labels that you can adhere right onto the front of a little Kit Kat bar. So be sure to check these out. This is Brooke's been working really hard with all this Valentine's Day goodies. We just have lots of different ideas. There's things for Pop Rocks, you know, maybe for the older kids, it's like You Rock, and then on the back it's got, you know, the kid's name and who it's to and from. These are all single or double-sided business cards. So once you order these, you get the same design, and there's 50 of the cards that come in when you place an order. So these are great. You can actually, you know, put your child's name on the back if you want to in studio, or if you want, you can actually leave them the name empty and then just hand write them when you get them if you have multiple kids who you want to share a pack of cards. But we've got the Pop Rocks and I'm a Sucker for You. You can either punch a hole in the card if you want and slide the sucker in, or you can just use a little piece of tape that you see here. And then you can also turn the card on the side if you want and just staple it to whatever little bag of candy treats that you would like. There are so many different designs in the template gallery available for you, so just take a minute to go through and see all the great options that we have. Here's several. I pulled some of my favorites out for this year. All these are double-sided business cards, and they all have, ways to customize on the back or add a photo. If you don't want a photo, you can just delete that off and, add a name or a little sentiment. There's this Nuts About You by Brooke. I've got a couple here. This one comes in several different animal designs. And my plans for this one is you would put a little hole punch here in the hand and maybe one down here or above, and then you slide either a pixie stick or a lollipop in there, and it's got your child's name and a little saying on the back. You're a Hoot. It's great for school-age children and teachers. Several of these are basic as well, so if you're just a basic member, there's several options for you. You're Out of This World, Let's Hang Out. I know these periodic chart things are very popular right now, so I had fun with this. I think on the back it says, are you made of copper and tellurium? It's because you're, and then it's cute. So that was a cute card maybe for the older girls, middle school, something like that. You're a Sweet Friend, Puppy Love, anything you can think of, there's probably something there in the gallery. And if it's not there, we've got so many cute embellishments and pieces of art that I'm sure you can come up with something to make a quick little, Valentine's Day card on your own. And then we kind of went through the treats there. That was just a real brief sampling of what we have. Go through the template gallery, lots and lots of things to choose from. I also want to show you off a few cards. Always, the cute little kid cards are fun too, but it's always nice to send people in your family or friends, a little Valentine's greeting as well. I just want to show a couple off. I heard a lot of people were running late this year on their Christmas cards. I don't know how the time gets away from us, but Valentine's Day cards are becoming very popular if you've missed Christmas and New Year's. So this is actually based on a Christmas card template that's in the gallery now, and I just kind of put this little masking tape over the top and changed it into a Happy Valentine's Day card just to be funny. If you're one of those people with this great sense of humor, you could actually do this to any of our Christmas cards. There's also several versions of Valentine's Day cards available too. Skip Christmas holidays altogether and go right into Valentine's Day. This is a cute little one, simple and graphic. This is a cute 5x5 card from Carrie Peratt, and she also has a matching flip book that goes with this that's simple and beautiful, so definitely take a look at that. This one's basic, and this card is also basic. This is the 8x4 photo card. And, it's a great time to tell your child or someone you love that you love them every day of the year, not just on Valentine's. It's kind of like this one, too. It's like, I love you every minute, every second, every day. Well, every child needs to hear that from their parent, or even, you can send it to your mother or something. It's a great thing to remind people of how much you love them this Valentine's Day. And we've got also, just cute, playful ones. This Thomas Train kit is very popular, and it's great if you're a grandma to send to one of your grandkids. That would be really fun, too. And I just wanted to remind you, too, I just showed off some of the cards. And I wanted to make sure that you guys know that when you're viewing things in the template gallery, a lot of times we as designers go ahead and make similar products or coordinating products that go along with it for you. Like this one, if you click on the template to see it, down below it'll show you all the coordinated templates. So this one actually comes in a great middle bracket print too, which would be great in any little girl's room. You could obviously easily change up the colors to make it for a boy. But a lot of times some of our products just have, canvases and all sorts of different things. So be sure to, if you make a canvas, there's probably a card that coordinates with it too. So be sure to check that out. And if you don't happen to see a coordinating product that you want to make, maybe this would make a great canvas and we haven't done it yet, make sure you use that import page feature. If you don't know what that is, type in a question and I'll show you how to do it. I will get to that later on in the presentation, but import page is just a fabulous feature that everyone needs to know how to use. So we'll go over that a bit later.
Roxanne?
Yes.
I also just want to mention in our if you're on the Heritage Makers website, over on the left you can usually find a little pop-out tag that says need help or help,
yes,
something like that. That'll take you to our support center, and if you use a keyword like import page or crop a photo, things like that. There are quite a lot, yeah, there you go, need help. Quite a lot of articles that we have with photos and even a couple of videos that will help you with those types of editing questions. So be sure to check that out.
Right, yes, that's a great resource. Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to have a lesson today. So this is kind of a pre-planned lesson. A lot of people have been asking me about masks, like what are masks, how do you use them, and we actually use masks and PNG formats all the time as designers, and you probably don't know that you've actually been working with some of them, but they're tremendously helpful. So I'm going to go over some of those tips and tricks with you today. All right, I'm actually going to specifically work with these collections today. They're ones that I have designed that just came out recently. We had some, I think there was a collection called Mask Basics, which we use all the time, but it was limited in the amount of pieces and patterns. So I kind of wanted to give all of you and our designers some more pieces to work with. So basically, what these PNG masks allow you to do is you add a photo or a paper behind the mask, and it allows you to shape the picture in these different ways. So you can make it into, a Canadian maple leaf, or you can make it into, the picture becomes the Mickey Mouse ears. And it's the same thing with the paper or the patterns. You can make any type of paper that you want. So these aren't the actual colors of the PNGs. They all come in a gray, but they're meant to be colorized in any way that you want them to be. So here I'm going to show you a couple examples. So basically when you pull up the collection in Studio, they just look like this. There's a whole bunch of them. I think there's 70 in this collection here. But there's grunge edges and semicircles and like the Mickey Mouse ears and these little stamp edges. So basically all you do is you apply them over the top of the photo and you get these cool looking edges. They're just so fun to play with. It completely transforms your little 4x6 rectangle photo into something beautiful, and like any professional photographer would be able to apply one of these special effects to it. You can also, and also in place of the photos, you can actually put papers behind your favorite papers, and then if you took the stamp edge per se, you put a piece of paper behind. If you layer on top, words, you can create your own little like word art embellishment. So there's 100 different uses for these. And I've also come up with these pattern masks. They work in the same way as kind of the photo masks do. They just look like this gray and white plain pattern. Here's a plain piece of paper, and once you overlay them, I've changed all the PNGs to white. You can see that you've made a whole bunch of different papers just by overlaying these simple PNG masks over the top of a plain piece of paper. I tend to like to work with textured papers a bit. I like a little bit of the flex and stuff. I don't like a heavy pattern, but I like the flex in it. And a lot of times I'll create my own papers by overlaying one of these PNG papers. And then if you add, like I said down here, a little bit of transparency, you get that texture of the paper from down below showing through the pattern. So it really looks like a cohesive one piece of paper, and it's beautiful. I mean, the possibilities are endless with the amount of colors and patterns you can do. So there's lots of great ways to play with this. So I think if we don't have any questions right now, I'm going to go ahead and go into Studio and show you how to work with the masks.
That would be great. That would be great because we're getting questions can you show us this in Studio? How you're going to do this?
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, is actually working in Studio. And I spend a lot of time playing. I mean, I always have. It's just a lot of these things you learn by just playing, and they're kind of happy accidents on how you learn. So don't ever feel like you've got to get into Studio and just make it work perfect the first time. It does take a bit of playing, and sometimes I don't know exactly what color tint I'm going to add to it or how much transparency. It's really just a matter of playing and feeling out how you want something to look in your project. So we're just going to play tonight. Let's have some fun and see what we can do here. I've gone ahead and added a photo, just this cute little Valentine's Day photo I'm going to play with, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my art collections below. Since these are new, they're showing up here right at the top, so they're easy to find behind the mask and behind the pattern. So we're going to go ahead and see more. So here's all the different shapes that you can see. They're very fun. There are lots of different ones. We've got a lot of holiday ones, which will be great for next year. Blurred edges, grunge edges, all sorts of different things. So we can take any of them and just pull them up on top. So basically what you're doing is you're just taking this and you're just applying it over the top. So we're just going to drag the corner here, and I'm just going to pull it so it covers the photo. So and I've got a little bit hanging down here. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, actually that was already cropped. So let me remove that crop. So all you're going to do is you're just moving this from behind the mask. I'm going to grab the corner of the photo. I'm just going to tuck it up here behind. So basically, that's all you do. But basically, you don't want this gray shape. You're not stuck with the gray of the PNG, so you can colorize this. If you had a white canvas you wanted to make, just go ahead and select the PNG, go to your Effects tab, and you're going to change your fill color to white. So you can see you've got this great, wonderful grunge edge photo already. It just completely changes the look of the photo. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to lock that mask in place, and we're just going to drop on a couple different masks so you can see the effects and how they work. Once an item is locked, you can easily drag and replace it and swap it out. So let's go back to our art collection. Let's pull this down a little bit. Let's try it with the splat. Let's see how the splat looks. Yep, so that's kind of fun. That would be cute for a kid's art collection. All you need to do if the photo's not positioned correctly anymore, you just click on the photo and then just move it into place to work. This photo isn't the greatest one because they're really not centered, so let's go ahead and grab the mask again. Let's try, here's the fun little stamped edges. So you got the stamped edges. And sometimes your photo, you can see this little tiny edge here hanging out. So just go ahead and bring the photo in a little bit more. You're just tucking the photo in behind the mask. Let's try one more. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Let's do a circle, this little grunge edge circle. Great, so you've got this little circle effect too. And it's great, you can use these in multiple layers. You can make grids, patterns of these. So a lot of times there'll be one shape with this grunge. If you want it to look different, you can place the same one. But if you go to layout, you can actually flip it a direction so it changes where those little grunge areas are, so it looks like a completely different circle. So that's fun. You can also, too, if you're not stuck with just changing these white too, let's just drop a piece of paper here in the background. I'm just going to go, I always use, these are actually all basic pieces too, so it's wonderful. So anybody can use these. I'm just going to type in square here. And I like this just from like the general shapes collection. There's just a black and white square. I usually use that if I'm just going to colorize a flat piece of paper in the background. So I'm going to pull it up to the edge. I'm going to grab the corner. I'm just going to pull it down so it covers my whole area. And then I'm going to send it to the back, which is this button here. It sends it all the way to the back. So let's say I wanted this canvas to be blue. I'm going to go ahead and select the fill color. I'm going to grab this blue from a shirt. And then I'm going to take the mask as well, and I'm also going to fill that into the same blue color. So you can turn these masks into any color you want and just blend them into the background. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how the paper patterns work. I've already pulled up this little textured pink paper, and let's add a little pattern over the top. We'll go back to our art collection, clear that off. Let's go to our patterns. These patterns are great. I try to think real logically when I made these. A lot of times patterns you can't, like if you throw this one up here, there's no way to crop it if you want the cute little chevron edges showing. So I gave you several options with those, including ones that were already cropped like this, so they're really easy for you to get that fun little edge. So once again, if you're making a pattern, you just pull it up to the edge. We're just going to pull this down. And this pink and the gray kind of looks fun together. It looks great. But remember, you can colorize these PNGs. Make it a little bigger. So you can make any paper that you want. You want this custom paper. So we're going to do a fill color. We can do white if we want, but to me that's too strong. I like subtle patterns on my papers. So we can either take this 100% fill white, and if you back it off a little bit, you see how I'm coming down? Actually, that one's black. Sorry, I can't do that. We can actually, you can add a little bit of transparency to it. That's what you want to do. See, it's a playing thing. I wasn't right on the fill color the first time, but there's always another way to do it. So you just keep playing. So if you change the transparency, it gets it lighter and lighter, and yet allows some of that texture to show through, which I love. So let's try another pattern. Let's see what else we have here. Go back to our art collections. Let's do, these stripes have been really popular so far. I've seen lots of things in the art gallery. It's a great modern feel. So you can get these fun stripes. And basically, you can just take what you've done, you make your own paper, you can make your own photo mask, and you can come up with these great, new, never seen before kind of treatments. You know, everybody goes, well, where did you get that paper? It's like, well, it's been colorized or it has a mask over the top. So lots of options. So here, I've just taken this photo again, and I've added this mask over the top. And here's kind of a blue pattern that I like. It's just a subtle texture. So a lot of times, a lot of these designs have masks, and you don't even know that you're using them. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to pretend like I'm making a canvas or something. I'm going to get inspired by something down here. There's a collection that I like. Let me click off the Premiere. Let's see here. Oh, I like this collection down here. This Little Charmers Basics, I think it is. Yeah, so I found this little piece earlier. I thought this was cute. Where is it? It's like you're cuter than a cupcake or something. Maybe it's in the word art. Oh, here it is. Cupcakes and Smiles kind of day. But I've looked and I can't find a paper that exactly matches this. Well, I like the texture of the paper, but it's not that nice kind of greeny blue color. So all you need to do is select your background paper, and you're going to go to Effects, and I'm going to click on the fill color, and I'm going to choose a color right out of this little tag that I like. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to back off the fill color. So see how it's allowing the pattern to show through, but yet it's still keeping me in that green pattern that I like. So we've gone from a blue paper and we've made it a green paper to match exactly what we're working on. And in this case, you can take the mask and you could probably, you know, pull a background color out. It blends in pretty well if we turn off the shadow, but you'll still see a little edge. But go ahead and work the mask into your design. You could either add a border if you wanted, or you can add a drop shadow. You know, make it look like it's supposed to be a piece of paper. You can go ahead, I can do a copy, which I'm using a Control-C as a copy, and then a Control-V as paste. You can rotate it around a little bit. I'm going to send it to back. And, you know, I can do a secondary color adding it in if I wanted to. So you're layering it like it's a piece of paper. I just wanted to show you, let's see. I actually found this design earlier. This was the import a page. I'll show you how to do that real quick while we're here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this off so we've got a clean page here. I saw this earlier and I really like these little shapes and that cupcake thing from somebody else's design, but I want to use it on my design. So I'm going to show you how to grab bits and pieces from other people's designs or something you already see in the template gallery. So you've got a blank page. I always start with a blank page. If you go to My Project, you will see you have to have started the project already, so it's in your unfinished projects, and it's called Top 10 Yearbook. You can see every page of that book here, but I know that's the front cover. So I'm going to go ahead and import page of the front cover only. So here it's given me the front cover of that book here. So all I'm going to do is if I hold the Shift key down, I can click on all the objects that I want. and I'm just going to copy from here. Control C is your shortcut, and I'm going to go back up to my other page, and I'm going to do Control Shift V. Oh, wrong one. It didn't copy it. Let me go back. Let's see here. Shift. Let me do copy and paste. So then I've got my little elements on there right now. And then I just kind of drag them into place. And you can do things too, like you don't like this blue paper. We can lock that. If we lock that, we can actually drag in another piece of paper. Let's see here. Let's go to, I've got to go to the paper collection of that one. It's got, this Little Charmers has 3 different collections that you can choose from. It's got papers, embellishments, and some other little papers. So let's throw in, see, we're just kind of playing and seeing what we can do here, but there's lots of different ideas. We had a fill color on that, so let's back off the fill color so we're back to 100% normal. But I played a little bit earlier, and I kind of came up with this design. Oh, that's right. I actually added this PNG over the top. Here was the original PNG. If I turn off the fill color, there was the original grayscale PNG. So I added a fill color, and I added a bit of transparency. So it backed off and made this subtle chevron pattern in the background. How's everybody doing with the math? Are we all getting it?
Okay, so time to interrupt you a little bit with some questions here.
Sure.
Well, I think it's really interesting that we had quite a handful of people want to know what PNG stands for. Well, it stands for portable network graphic. It's just a different format for images. So mostly you've probably all heard of JPEGs as a format for images. Well, the PNG format, so it's not a JPEG, it's a PNG, and PNGs have the ability to have those transparent portions like those mattes.
The transparency things. And all of these objects, actually all these flowers and everything are PNGs, because otherwise if it's a JPEG, it saves it in a square format.
Right, so the PNGs have the edges. Right. Yes, very good. So that's kind of interesting that so many people wanted to know. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, it's just
awesome.
It's just a term. But any of our objects we can turn into a fill color basically if you wanted to. But the thing about these masks is masks are masks because they have a whole, an empty part in them that allows you to, mask the edges of the photo basically.
Perfect. So a lot of people saying, thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Roxanne. They love these collections, and I'm sure everyone's going to go out, get on their studio and try these out. So that's awesome. I really appreciate them too. So fun, the possibilities here. And then question on just a couple things that we went through very quickly.
Okay.
How are you, when you're talking about send it to the back? You're talking about layering objects, and I think people want to see more about what you meant by that and how that was done.
Yep, I'm just going to unlock everything on the page. You can go up here. All your little helpful things are up in either in the toolbox or up here. You can lock, you can unlock all on the page if you want to see. I'm just going to show you how to do that. So basically, if I want to see what this yellow paper is and it's tucked behind, these little objects down here at the bottom of your toolbox, if you hover over them, it says what it does, send to back. So this one actually sends all the way to the back. It'll actually send it behind the blue paper. You can see the outline now, but if I let go, you can't see it anymore. So basically, I'm going to grab this piece of paper now, and I'm going to send it to the back so I can see that paper again. So it basically sending back or bringing forward, forward controls all your layers, the positioning of it. So these here, let's see, what is it? This one is actually bring forward. So if you bring forward or send backwards, that's one layer at the top, one layer at a time. If you do bring to front, it brings it all the way up. So if I'm not sure where I want this piece of paper, I usually hit the send backwards, and you'll start seeing how it's sending one layer at a time. You see these little things popping up. And sometimes I just click that multiple times until I get it into position. So there it is. So all of the stuff in the toolbox is worth exploring and playing with. I mean, the only way you get better is consistently working in studio and learning what all these little tools do. There's really no limitations in studio. Pretty much everything you could ever dream about doing is there. I mean, it's really very similar to a Photoshop, if you will. I mean, I can usually figure out how to do just about everything in this program that Photoshop can do. It's all there and very easy to use. You just have to become familiar with it.
For sure. Show us again how we open up an art collection and how we're going to find those mask collections.
Okay. There's always more than one way to do it. You can go to your art collections. Let's clear it out and go back to home. These two happen to be brand new, so they're showing here at the top, and they are basic. Or you can, in your search box, you can type in mask, and it'll bring up the mask collections. This is the older one, this Mask Basics. But Mask Basics is great too. It's got a lot of great shapes in it. It's just a little more limited, but it's got numbers and alphas, which are great too. So if you ever want to do like a little monogram or, you know, do something with numbers for maybe a sports team, it's great for that. I use it all the time. I think you might be able to type in PNG too. And it shows you several options. There's, you know, fun little words here too that are easy colorized. So, you know, it just depends on if you're a Premiere or a Basic member. You can hide the Premiere and easily find different collections that we have for the masks and the PNGs. Or if you're working in a project, you can always click on one of the elements, and this is behind the pattern, and then you can open that collection. That's a mask thing too. So several different ways. I think, let's see if it's working this time. I can also, is it working? I can also right-click on the element and say Open Collection, and it will open the collection that's from. So that's a great little shortcut that has been added recently. So anything you open a template and you're like, where is that? You know, where do I find that orange flower? Right-click it and say Open Collection, and it'll take you right to that collection. It's wonderful. Great shortcut.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. I love that one. One person wanted to know if we can erase things in Studio, and that is one difference between Photoshop. You can't actually erase. There's no eraser tool, but of course there are crop tools, and so
but crop is amazing. There's all sorts of tricks for cropping. You can crop on angles. You can piece things together. There's all sorts of different things. Actually, that's one of my pages I had shown. The mask we were just working with is a square. And sometimes when you drag things, let's see, if I was to stretch it, if I hold the Shift key down, it disproportionately changes things, but sometimes things don't look pretty when they're out of proportion. But I've actually taken that same mask, as you'll see here, and I actually cropped my mask, the edges off the mask, and pieced two of them together. So there's ways to do things like that. If you need a heart mask, you can actually take the triangle mask and add two semicircles on the top. You just crop off the edge. So there's ways, if you think outside the box, there's always some way to do just about everything. So here's the original mask. I'm just going to crop it. So I'm going to go back to the edges. And I'm just going to pull it down so it just crops the edge. So I've kind of made my own custom mask here. And we actually have a Facebook challenge going on right now that involves the mask. And several entries, people got creative with their masks and were able to do fun things with cropping the mask and altering them in different ways. So I was really impressed with the challenge entries so far this week.
For sure. Roxanne, why don't we quickly talk about, there are two questions. Mm-hmm. One was just how do you skew something? So say you started with that square mask, but you wanted it to be rectangular. Okay. Could you pull it into a rectangle?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what let's see, let's remove the crop again. We'll go ahead and move that one over. Yeah, so if anytime you have something, it can be a photo, an embellishment, a mask, all you do is just hold the, if you just drag a corner, it proportionally changes it. So you can't really skew it here, but if you hold the control key down first and then grab one of your edges, you'll see this little arrow tool here. Let me see. Oh, let's see. Oh, you hold the shift key. Yeah, I forgot it changed. So if you hold the shift key down, it changes the proportion. So it'll stretch something out of proportion, basically. And that works with alphas and text as well. So hold that shift key down. If you want, a lot of our text isn't, we don't have a lot of condensed fonts, but that works great with fonts too to make them more condensed, longer, taller. But you really don't necessarily want to do it with photos all the time, but it does work with photos too. If I hold the shift key down, I can stretch it wide if I wanted to. I don't necessarily want to, but it'll work with any embellishment or photo, just holding the shift key down and dragging.
Very cool. So talking about cropping, how would I crop something on an angle? Or is it only square all the time, my crop marks?
Well, you can actually do some, let's take this photo, let's see here. So I can crop it if I wanted to make it a little square. So we all know how to move our little crop around. We get it where we want it. We just grab on the edges here, stretch, crop, we'll say done. We can rotate things by turning the little handle. But what if we wanted to, let's see, if I say adjust my crop, you can actually, when it's in the adjust crop stage, you can actually use this little rotation tool and turn it and then say crop. And sometimes that works really well with, actually here, let's take this over here. Let's do a copy. I'm going to go back up to my page 2 here. I'm going to paste that photo here. Let's turn these let's add full fill color on here without the transparency. Say we wanted to put this photo into this diagonal area here. So we can make this straight again. Let's remove the crop altogether. Rotate it back straight. So I'm going to make it big so it fills up the space. Something like this. So it's probably not the best picture, but you'll get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and send that back, and then I'm going to pull it forward. So I'm going to know that this is the area I want. So I'm going to go ahead, because I just want this area in here showing. So I'm going to say crop, and then I'm going to rotate, rotate the crop here. So I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to just pull it into position so it tucks behind the white lines of my PNG pattern mask. So see how I'm just pulling it up? I'm just kind of reshaping the whole thing. And then I can say done, and then I've got this great angled photo. So of course I would probably change this background. I'd choose a color out of the photo somewhere to kind of tie it all in and make it real cute. So great way to angle. So remember, you can always crop things and then rotate it while you're in the cropping stages.
Exactly. That's cool. That looks really cool. Roxanne, I think there are, of course, as expected, there are people who are very unfamiliar with Studio on this call and people who are rather familiar. And so can we just get a basic, how did you just make that picture so big? How did you
sure.
make that so big?
Yep, sure. Let's try that again. Let me just pull up a photo here. We'll just pull up another one. Let me grab something from my photo albums here. Let's see what we've got. So let's do this fun photo here. So basically, I've just pulled a photo up from my photo albums. All you do is, once you've selected a photo, you'll get these little corner squares to show up in blue. All you do is, once you get that little arrow tool there, you just drag it. You just hold down your mouse while you're clicking. So click and drag. So it's really simple. And then you just, you click on it to move it up and down. And you see you haven't filled it yet, so go ahead and just drag it down further. So everything is controlled by these little corner squares, the rotation device up here at the top, And then the sides, of course, will let you pull it out or in smaller too. So once you drag your mouse over with your little cursor tool, you'll see all these different little arrows and gadgets appear. So just don't be afraid to grab on the corner or something and see what it does. If you don't like it, it's like, oops, I did something wrong. You can always, do edit, undo, or Control Z, and that'll put you right back to where you were. So, you're not going to make any mistakes or anything. So just go ahead and try and, play and just let things happen. You learn by doing those things and making mistakes. So don't be afraid to do that.
That's exactly right. So I have a good question that's come up here. Now, what is going on? You've selected that photo, and I see this green border around it, but when you stretched it even bigger, that color started to change. What's with that? What does that mean?
It does. When we've got this, we call it a green rubber band is what we call it. I just call it like a green frame. Whenever you see this green frame, that means that's optimized printing quality. When you see this, sometimes our pictures, when we import them, look a little pixelated or a little grainy. It's because our studio is translating it into a low-res image, because if we kept all of the high-res images in there, it would just be too big for the system to keep and to actually function. So we have this low-res image projection, basically. But if you have a green border on it, and you can be assured that your printing quality is going to be as good as the original. Once you start stretching things beyond their optimized length, you'll start to see how it turned yellow. Yellow's kind of getting iffy. I think it'll still print okay depending on product. As I stretch it larger and larger, it starts going orange and red. So I would not recommend, once you get into the orange and red, your printing quality isn't great. The only product that you can really print a photo on it in the red is our canvas products. Those actually work the best. The canvas has a bit of a texture to it, so it actually allows you to go more into this orange and red area and still print very clearly. But on paper, things such as books, these smaller scrapbook pages, try to keep your photos into the green. I know a lot of us get photos from friends or pull photos off of Facebook. If you upload them and they come in like this size and they already have a red border, it's a very low res image and it will not print well when you stretch it well beyond the red. So try to ask someone if they have a high res image that you can use instead. But most of the digital cameras these days take high res photos, so you should be fine. But just be aware, yellow is fine, but watch out when you start getting into the orange and the red rubber band area.
Very good. Yeah, that's really important. And just remember, when you're looking at it on the screen, it is a low res for the screen's sake, so that the online tool can operate quickly. So don't be concerned if your image or the art is kind of fuzzy or grainy on the screen. As long as that border is green, it's going to print just fine. So
yeah, because this one here is starting to look, this one's here looking really grainy, but it won't print that way when you actually get your printed feedback. Yep.
That's one of the most common questions we get for customer support. Let's see. Before we wrap it up, because we only have about 10 more minutes, and I want to let you know that right at the end of the class, I'm going to select 2 more attendees for free points. So don't bail out on us yet. So we're going to just ask 2 things. Back to that border just right there on your page, we see the diagonals, and I think people are interested in, again, seeing a little more slowly how it is that you are changing the tone of that. I think we're talking about the fill tool and the transparency tool.
Yep, so let's pull this one back here. So our original state was the PNG pattern, and if I take off the fill color, it's this kind of dark gray color. So I make all my PNGs with this dark gray color so that that they're meant to be colorized. So basically you just select that image, whatever pattern or mask it is. So I'm selecting that, and then I'm just going over here to my fill color. I can click on this, and I can choose colors out of this color fill box. but honestly, they're not very pretty colors. So what you want to do to make your project the most beautiful is if you choose a color from within your photo. You could choose, like this yellow. I mean, it could be green. You can pick up the red here if you want, depending on what look you're going for. You can choose another gray. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick the yellow. And then you can add transparency to it. Actually, let me choose a different color so that you can clearly see it. So let's just choose this kind of blue-gray color. So if you use transparency, it'll start allowing, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're allowing the color to become transparent in little bits and pieces so you can see the background color showing from behind it. So it's this fun little trick. I mean, I'm always using a combination of fill color plus transparency. And there's no right or wrong combination of the numbers or how much to use. It really depends on how strong a pattern you want in the background. I typically like mine a little softer, but some of the more modern designs call for a real strong, strong diagonal. So it's playing, with what you're comfortable with. You can also, I've grabbed the background paper now, and I can add a transparency to that as well. Or we can here's the original pink, and then we can go back and let's change that now to red, so it's more of a Valentine's Day project. And then you can just start adding your embellishments over the top of it. I mean, there's just no right or wrong. A lot of times your photos are going to dictate what you do. So I just love, you can do, rounded corners, add borders. I mean, there's all sorts of, things you can do. And maybe you want your photo, you only want the stripes at the bottom. You can actually click on, this is the let's see, is that the background paper? Let me click on the PNG again, which was this one, unlock it, and I'm going to crop the PNG. So basically, I'm just cropping, done, and I've removed the bottom set of stripes here. So you can crop anything any way you want, still color it, add transparency. It's just, you can just play. I play for hours sometimes.
Well, that's why you're the expert. And Roxanne, I don't think we can thank you enough for this class. What a wonderful class. And
wonderful.
You in studio and just listening to you explain how things work, I think it has got us all excited to get back in there on our own projects. I wanted to just mention that although this class is coming to an end, which is kind of sad because I know you've all enjoyed asking questions, there will be another class next month. And in addition, we are always here to help you. We have a great customer support that will do live chat. We've got our Heritage Makers Facebook page where you just ask a question and our brilliant Brooke or Roxanne herself will answer those questions there. So don't feel like you're on your own. A lot of people have consultants as well that are very helpful in this area. So don't get discouraged. Feel free to play and feel free to contact all of us for help because we're here for you and would love to help you get creative with your photos. The next class will be is this the first Thursday or the second Thursday of the month?
The second one. It's going to be on February 13th will be our next class.
So we'll kind of just count on the second Thursday of each month. So mark your calendars and be free, and we'll enjoy seeing you all next time. I will go ahead and let you know that Georgia Warren is another winner of 20 points. So congratulations to Georgia. And we also have Alicia Smith, and she's our third winner of our publishing points. So congratulations to you two. And thanks again for joining us. Is there any last thing you wanted to tell us, Roxanne?
Yeah, absolutely. Over on the Facebook page, like I had mentioned earlier, if you click on the challenges tab, let me see if I can go over there real quick. There's actually a math challenge, so if you want to practice something and have it posted by noon tomorrow Mountain Time, you can actually get into the contest and see how you're doing. Let's go over here. Let's see if I can get this up real quick. Excuse all my Facebook things. Let's go over to the Heritage Makers page. If you click on this Club HM Challenges, you can see the Math Challenge posted right now, and you can see some of these great projects that are coming in. People are being real creative and playing with the math, so you can see that they're getting it. So you can upload what you've done and learned from the class, and you have a chance to win 25 publishing points.
Yeah, it's a great way to get some extra points, and we love, love, love seeing the things that you're working on, and appreciate everyone who shares with us. It's great. Okay, well, I guess it's time to say goodnight. Thanks, Brooke. Thanks again, Roxanne, and thanks for everyone. Thanks to all of you for joining.